At 24 years old, I got a text message that changed my life forever. It was a text that said, "Do you want to audition for a metal band?" And that metal band happened to be called I Prevail. Now, from that one moment, 9 years later, now at 33 years old, I've accomplished just about everything I could have ever dreamed of. Selling out arenas, touring all across the globe, getting nominated for 2 Grammys, getting gold records that I never could have dreamed of happening, along with growing a online drum business, amassing over 1 million subscribers, making real money from doing the thing that I love, managing other artists, getting to make relationships with some of the top people in the industry, people who I used to look up to, who I used to dream of meeting, are now people who I call friends. And after all of this, I now maybe feel more lost than ever. And in order to explain more about why I feel lost, I need to take you back to the beginning. So I want to drop you into a moment in time where I'm about 22 years old. I am unemployed. My 8th band just broke up. I have about $800 to my name. I have no formal education, no opportunities, no gigs, and I'm sleeping on a mattress on the floor in a house with 6 other roommates. Now, at this time, the thing that scared me the most wasn't that I had no opportunities and that I had no job and all of this stuff that I just said. But the thing that scared me the most was that I thought this might be what the rest of my life is. I'm putting everything on the line for this thing that has no guarantee, meaning I wanted music, and for me specifically drumming, to be my full-time job. I mean, ever since I was 13 years old, I first started playing drums and started playing in bands. Like, that's all I ever pictured myself doing. And I wanted it so desperately. My biggest fear was that this moment in time, laying on the mattress in my floor, staring at the ceiling, going, I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this one. At that point, I'd already been pursuing it for 10 years and had varying degrees of success for local bands. I'd spent tens of thousands of dollars on albums that never did anything. And I was just scared to go through the process again and to end up another 2 or 3 years down the road, but with nothing to show for it. So things at this time felt pretty helpless. And what made it even worse was that I would see musicians and artists around me who were much more talented than me start to give up on their passion as well. And it kind of made me think, if these people can't even figure it out, then where I'm at in my life, I definitely can't figure it out. I think this might be the end of the road. But there was this continual calling in the back of my mind. It used to be much closer, but at this point it was maybe like shouting down the hall, like, Gabe, you've got to keep pursuing music, keep pursuing drumming. This is the thing that you were made for, is really what my belief was. So even though things felt completely helpless, I just still had that voice in the back of my head. But the big problem was that I'm a drummer, right? For the past 10 years, I had played drums with bands. I had always kind of needed some sort of band to play live. I don't think a lot of people were lining up to just see a drummer play at a bar by himself. So there was this tension of, I really want to pursue this thing, but I want to be able to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. How can I do that? And that's where something very interesting happened. I saw one of my roommates at the time. He was making money teaching ukulele online. And this was like 2013. So this blew my mind. Like, this was the age where making money online was like a crazy thought. And I'm like, this guy is able to make money playing music in his bedroom. How can I do that? So I asked him to help me try to see if I could do this for drumming. Like, this was kind of my way to be self-sufficient. What if I didn't need a band? I could actually play music, teach drums for the masses, and create some sort of stable living. So I started uploading some really, really bad videos of myself to the internet, but something happened. The first video got 10 views. The next video got 30 views. Then 100, then 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And over years and years of posting a video of myself every single week, I started to gain tens of thousands of subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, and now over 1 million followers across all platforms. It was the first time in my musical journey that I saw a direct result of I'm putting something out and I'm gaining any sort of traction. Because typically what I would experience is I would write an album for 2 years with my friends, and we would spend a lot of money to record that album. And the album would be really actually good. And then we'd play a bunch of shows that we'd have to try to convince our friends to come to, and no one would really care, and we wouldn't really gain any traction, and the good songs didn't really do anything, and then the bands would break up. So for the first time, I was putting something out, and with everything that I put out, it felt like I had some sort of growth. And that changed everything for me. And as a result of that, I was able to meet other musicians and get other gigs and even teach other students in person. And before I knew it, I was actually able to quit my job in construction at the time and be a full-time drummer in the suburbs of Michigan, something that for decades or decade that I had heard people say is a complete pipe dream, something that I would never be able to do. But I was doing it on my own as a drummer in Michigan. And once you start being known for something in your community, once you start being the first person that people think of, stuff starts to really unlock for you. So what I mean by that is once I started telling people, because they would ask, what do you do? And I'd say I'm a full-time drummer, again, in Michigan. That really stood out to people. That was like a novel thing. And so then anytime someone needed a drummer, I was the first person that they would think of because I just stood out in their mind. I mean, of course, I showed up to gigs early. I was prepared. I was overly friendly, and I did a really good job. And those are also better ways to stand out in people's mind. But this all led to when I Prevail, this large metal band needed a drummer. An acquaintance that I knew from a church gig threw my name into the ring for an audition. And that is a very interesting story because basically that is where I got this text message. Hey, do you want to audition for a metal band? And at this stage in my career, a very important lesson, I was saying yes to everything, which I think is very important from the standpoint of I've talked with so many musicians who say, oh, I got an opportunity for a gig, but I turned it down because it's jazz and I don't like playing jazz. Well, the rule is say yes to every opportunity because one opportunity leads to many more opportunities. So keep saying yes until you have to say no, until you've filled up your schedule with the things that you want to be doing. And then once you don't have room, then you can start prioritizing and removing the ones that aren't worth your time as much for the ones that are. So I was at a stage where I wanted to say yes to as many things as possible. So do you want to audition for a metal band? Even though I had never played metal, I was like, yeah, why not? Let's try it out. But there was one wrinkle. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, who aren't drummers, in metal music, you have to play something oftentimes with something called a double bass pedal. So this is something that you move with your foot. Typically on drums, you've got your kick pedal. Well, with metal, you have two kick pedals. So your right and your left foot are moving. It's basically like an entire new style of drumming. If you're not used to playing it, you're not good at it. Trust me. And that was me. I wasn't used to playing it, and I was not good at it. But I talked to Steve, who is now co-manager of the band with me, guitar player, all around awesome dude. I talked to him on the phone for the very first time before the audition, and he was just asking me, how do you feel with your double kick, all of that type of stuff? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's no problem. It's actually pretty easy for me. I didn't say that, but I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty good at it. It's all good. Like no concerns. He was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll see you at the audition in like 3 weeks. I hung up the phone. I immediately had to order a double bass pedal because I didn't actually own one and I was not actually good at it. But I wasn't going to let a small obstacle, a small hurdle of not being able to play this thing yet remove my chances of an audition that could potentially change my life. So, long story short, I got the double bass pedal. I practiced like 6 hours a day for 3 weeks straight and tried my hardest to show up and pretend that I was a metal drummer, even though I don't think it went particularly well. I had some mistakes and stuff, but I started touring with them 1 month later. I basically toured with them for the entire year in front of thousands of people doing headlining shows for the entire year. And it basically took me 13 years of trying my best and spending all of the money that I had in my bank account to play for 50 people at a show. But all of a sudden, in an instant, by saying yes to opportunities, by not letting the little hurdles get in my way, by putting myself out there even when I felt like an imposter, even though I was terrified, it unlocked something, and I was able to kind of walk through a door that I had been pounding on for the past 13 years. And I guess I want to take a second to talk about this briefly. Some would say that this is survivorship bias, or that I just got this gig because of luck. And that is partially true. However, I think that I made luck a lot more likely to occur because I continually showed up and tried to take steps towards the goal that I ultimately wanted every single day. So the fact that I had this online following, plenty of videos of me drumming, a ton of relationships with people in professional gigging settings, it all made that lucky opportunity so much more likely. And the thing is, even if I didn't land that gig, I still would have been a full-time drummer because I already made it happen for myself. So I think it's just something important to remember, because I think I've seen myself and other people write off other people's stories of, oh yeah, you just got that one lucky call. Well, it took 13 years of trying really hard to get that one lucky call. So I didn't get this opportunity because I was fearless. I got it because I kept moving despite the fear. I think the people and the artists who are the most successful keep moving forward despite the uncertainty, despite the uncomfortableness with putting themselves out there, despite the self-doubt. But yeah, this led me on a journey of playing with this band for the past 9 years. I've toured the world so many times, played Japan, Australia, Europe, UK, America, Canada, like so many times. It's been incredible. We sold out arenas. We've gone to the Grammys. It's been so cool. I've gotten to play with bands who I've looked up to since I was 15. So sick. Like so many of these things are not lost on me. When I go to play a show in front of people, like there are seriously moments still where I'm playing and I'm almost like talking to my inner child of like my 13-year-old Gabe. Like, dude, look at this. Like, look at what you're doing right now. You're talking to the drummer who you always thought was like the best, or you're playing in front of people and they actually like what they hear. They're actually here to see you. Like, they're not just walking by, or you're not just annoying people at a bar. Like, people are actually here and stoked to be here. And yeah, I've had some pretty emotional moments on stage as a result of this. And I've been so incredibly grateful for all of it. And that all kind of led to last year. And this is when I did genuinely feel incredibly lost. And I'll tell you why. Leading into last year, we had written an album that we were incredibly grateful for and excited about. It was actually the first time that I was fully integrated into the songwriting process, something I had been wanting to do for a long time, something I was really excited about, tracking real drums, being so methodically detailed about every single part, off of the back of losing a member of the band, which was an incredibly difficult journey. And it all leads to us releasing our very first single. And all throughout this time, we've had a manager who has really become a mentor to us, someone who has helped us grow in so many ways, has always been there for the tough conversations in the band. And it's all leading towards us, releasing this first single. It's the first single with kind of the updated lineup of the band, the new era of the band. That Tuesday, I actually lost my grandfather, who was also kind of a mentor figure to me, especially in the past couple years. Someone who I cared for deeply, who was always rooting me on, one of my biggest fans, and someone who was a huge support to me and had guided me in so many different ways in business and life. And that Tuesday, we lost him. He was 85, so it was somewhat expected, but it was a very difficult loss. The first time that I had been in a room with someone who was actually dead. Pretty alarming thing to see, I think. 2 days later, so this is Thursday, the single comes out that night. Basically first thing in the morning, I get a phone call from my buddy Dom telling me that we had lost our manager Dave in a plane crash, and that he was gone. And it was like incredibly tragic and so hard to comprehend, knowing that the person who helped us kind of get to this point, the day that our song was going to be released at midnight, we lost him. And not only him, I mean, there was other incredible people on that flight as well. Why should I even be doing this when like the person who was supposed to be here with us is now gone? Not to mention that at that time in my life, my personal life was basically in shambles. And about 2 weeks later, someone broke into my house while I was sleeping. And that's a pretty alarming way to wake up. So I felt lost. I felt uncertain. I felt taken right back to where I was 10 years ago. I'm like, why? What am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? Should I continue to go forward, or is this the universe telling me that I should kind of be done? Like, I've lost people around me. I'm experiencing major uncertainty in many ways in my personal life and in the break-in and my grandpa and so many other things. And the reality is that I got a ton of hate from people online with the member change in the band. And like I said, I understand. But when you are down in the lowest moments of your life, and then it also feels like everyone around you hates you, you're just forced to question everything, or at least I did. But I felt a responsibility to Dave, our manager, to my grandpa, to myself, to pick up the pieces the best that I could, to keep pushing forward, right? Despite the fear, despite the uncertainty that I had. So I started being strategic and started pushing the album. Again, like I said, this started to become a work that was bigger than just me, bigger than just the band. It was for something greater, for Dave, for the other people who believed in us. All, for so many of those people, for the fans too. And so I started to push the album in creative ways to the best my marketing brain could come up with. And something crazy started to happen. We started getting more pre-saves on this album than we had ever seen even close to before. We ended up with 225,000 pre-saves, which was like 25 times higher than what we had ever seen before. And then we released the album, and in the first month, it accumulated over 100 million streams. And I started thinking, I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm actually useful. Maybe I'm actually like good at this, and I can help other artists grow too. The mission started forming for me of music is actually worth pushing for, because during this period of time, the lowest moment of my entire life, that entire month and year, music was a huge form of therapy for me, not only as a fan, but also as an artist. And I think the power of music is greatly undervalued today. And I am starting to feel pretty passionate that I want to do my best to push it to the forefront, to help music get valued, to help other artists grow with everything that I've learned over my past decade in the industry. And to be clear, I doubted myself every single day, every single hour in this journey, in this past year. But it kind of led me to something that I've started to adopt more, and that is, if you are not doubting yourself, you're not growing. You're not putting yourself in new situations that you haven't been in before. And those are the opportunities for the most growth of your life. Clarity actually comes from momentum. Momentum does not come from clarity. So, meaning, when all of this happened, I had so many questions about what the future looked like, about how I was going to move forward in my career. Even 10 years ago, I had so many questions of how I was going to try to break into this industry. But the more I just kind of showed up and started doing stuff, clarity started to come as a result of it. As I've seen so many artists become successful throughout my decade in the industry, it's the ones who keep showing up, who keep the momentum going no matter what. Those are the people who stay, and the people who did what I used to do, where you go away for 2 years, you write an album, and you release it, and maybe just like talk about it once or twice, and then you go away again. Those people typically fade into obscurity, which sucks. Like that could be, totally unfair, but it also is the reality of it. And it's something that I've really tried to adopt, is just keep pushing forward. If you're not sure about how this thing's going to do, just do it, and then you'll learn from it, and then you can do it again, whether that's the song that you're putting out, whether it's the video that you put out, whether it's the steps that you take towards navigating life circumstances that you never quite anticipated being in. Putting one foot in front of the other every single week, every single day is one of the best things that you can possibly do. So that all kind of leads us to here. Why am I sitting here on this couch talking into a microphone about my story in the past and my story in the past year? Well, it's because over the past 20 years, my 10 years of trying to pursue music, and then my 10 years of actually being in the industry, I've realized 3 things. 1, I genuinely believe that music holds power and can change people's lives and can change artists' lives, but it is currently being devalued in so many ways, whether that's through AI music, whether that's through like artist payouts on Spotify. Like, I think music has shifted from a maybe primary entertainment source in the past to a passive entertainment source, something that you have on in the background. The problem is it's comprised of artists who pour their heart and soul into something to just kind of be put into the background that people aren't really paying attention to. And I feel passionately about trying to make music matter in a way that I know it already does matter, but I want to help more of the public realize. And that's not something that I can just do by myself. That's something that I believe takes a movement of people to raise the value of music up. I think I can help the process through the second thing that I've learned, and that is surround yourself with people who are further along than you are. There are so many aspects of my journey where I've had a drum mentor who has taken me to the next level, or a mentor like Dave who has helped me take my career to the next level. These people have helped pave the way for me because they've done it, and they can help me save years of trying to figure it out. They can just tell me what to do. And what I want to do here in this lost art situation is bring other artists into the fold for you to be able to learn from, for you to be able to hear about their experiences and learn and grow from what worked and what didn't work. And the third thing that I've learned is that I really like helping other people. And I think that I can actually share a lot of my perspectives and a lot of my experiences and thoughts and lessons with other artists to help them grow, or to just continually push the value of music to the forefront of culture. And so that's what we're doing here at Lost Art. I've already recorded plenty of interviews with some of my favorite artists and musicians and bands in the industry. And I've also already recorded a ton of episodes of me sharing some of my experiences helping artists grow, no matter what level you're at, really. Whether you're just starting, whether you've been doing this thing for 10 years and already have a ton of momentum. Through my experience in managing multiple artists at this point, I have quite a few things that I can share, and it's free. Like, I'm just doing this because I value it and I think it's important. I don't want to just be another voice on the internet that's complaining about music dying. I want to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of light that can help push other artists into the forefront of culture, push music into the forefront of culture. I can't do that alone. So if you're interested, click subscribe. We're going to be here quite a bit. And if you want to get inside of the mind of a songwriter who has written songs that have gained billions and billions of streams, well, then click right here to watch my interview with Steve Minoyan of I Prevail.